Today I'll be presenting a case from the Palm Beach County Medical Examiner, where I worked over the summer doing autopsies. Yeah, that's right, I saw dead people. This case is about a 54-year-old woman who was found dead suddenly at her workplace in Jupiter. She had no medical history and she hadn't seen a doctor in decades, but over the past year, her husband said that she had been complaining about back pain, abdominal pain, weight loss, hair loss, and vaginal bleeding. So the first finding on her autopsy is shown with the red arrow. This is a big blood clot in her lungs called a pulmonary embolism. Chris Bosch had this. It's when a clot breaks off from somewhere in the body, then travels up through the heart and gets lodged in the vessels that feed the lungs. Eventually, the blood can't pick up its oxygen from the lungs, and so the tissues die and the person can die. Usually, these clots come from the deep veins of the legs, which is why people tell you to get up and walk around on airplanes. So now the question became, where did the clot come from? Well, that's when we opened up the patient's abdomen and found this massive ovarian tumor, shown with the purple arrow. This tumor weighed 2,200 grams, nearly 5 pounds, the size of a cantaloupe. To give you an idea, the patient's brain only weighed 1,200 grams, so this tumor weighed almost double the mass of the patient's brain. The blue arrow shows what's left of her fallopian tube. When we take the tumor and we look at it under the microscope, we can see that the cells are whorled. They don't have any sort of pattern or layering to them. And that's typical of cancer cells. They just start growing willy-nilly without any organization. So now we can conclude that the patient's blood clotted more than it normally would because of the cancer, and that the tumor pressed down on the veins in her abdomen, causing the blood to pool. Eventually that pooled blood clotted, and that clot traveled up through her heart and got lodged in the vessels that feed her lungs. Now, this case is important because it teaches doctors and medical students about what can happen when ovarian cancer is left untreated. And it's also a strange way of getting a pulmonary embolism, but still an important one to consider. Maybe we should screen all survivors of pulmonary emboli for underlying cancer. Thank you.